everyone, welcome back to the class. My name is Riva, I'm from Taiwan.
And I'm Paul, I'm from Canada.
Alright, so for this unit, we're going to talk about table manners. So Paul, is there any special rules when eating in North America?
Yeah, of course, there are rules in every culture when we eat. One of them, for example, is interesting. It's about talking at the table. Some families don't really want talking at the table. They want to have it nice and quiet.
Really?
And they consider that to be mannerly if you don't really talk at the table. But that is really an older tradition. It's changing now with the younger tradition, and now it's more talking. For example, in my family, it's okay to talk at the table. I actually enjoy talking to my wife and kids, and we discuss all kinds of things. I think one of the reasons maybe that they didn't talk at the table was because of maybe choking, because sometimes food can get caught, so if you eat and talk at the same time. So I'm thinking maybe once upon a time somebody somewhere was eating, choked on their food, and they said no more talking while you're eating. So it became a table manner. So what about Taiwan? Do you guys talk at the table?
Yeah, we like to talk, especially during dinners. So when you first arrived Taiwan, did you find it weird that people are talking loudly in the restaurant?
No, not really that much, because I had spent time in Asia before. But at the same time, I guess, yeah, the level of noise was a bit more than I was used to home. It's quite lively in Asian restaurants at times.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a party, it's not a wedding, it's just people sitting around eating at a restaurant. But it does seem to be, the noise level does seem a little bit higher than we are used to back home. Yeah.
And actually, some people when they're drinking, they like to play games like 5、4、6. Have you ever heard that before? And that makes
Can't say I have. No.
and that makes the restaurants even more.
So what's that supposed to be? 1, 2, drink or?
No. They're going to play games.
Yeah.
And if you lose, you have to drink.
Ah, the drinking games.
Yes,
Yeah,
the drinking game.
We have those. Yeah, we have those.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How did you do that?
Well, it's not so much at a restaurant. It's more like at universities, for university students. They have the drinking games. For example, someone will tell a story, and whenever you hear a certain word, you have to drink. Something like that. So, but not at the table. Not really. We don't have drinking games. We drink because we just want to drink. We don't really play games. That's the difference in our culture, I think. Yeah.
I see. And another thing about drinking in Taiwan is don't ever drink by yourself. When you feel like to drink, always invite someone or invite the whole table to drink with you.
Okay.
Yes, do not just drink quietly by yourself. It would be considered a little bit rude.
Oh, okay, that's interesting because back in North America, we drink if we want to. It doesn't matter if there's company around or not. If I want to drink by myself or with somebody else or with 20 other people, that's fine. It doesn't really matter. It's socially acceptable to drink however and whenever you want. So not whenever, but I mean by yourself it's okay. With somebody else it's okay. So yeah. Another thing too was when you're in Taiwan, like in Canada and the United States, for example, whenever someone leaves the table, some families they want you to say excuse me.
Right.
Like my children, I do ask them sometimes, especially when we're in a restaurant around other people, to say excuse me, because I want to know where they're going.
Right.
Because these might have this plan in their head to get in some kind of mischievous, plan they have to do something. So I want to know, where are you going? What are you doing? So before you leave, say excuse me. And at home, if there's company, I'll also say excuse me before you leave the table. But if it's just ourselves, I don't really ask them to. But when I was growing up, my parents always said, whenever you leave the table, you say excuse me. That was a manner.
That makes sense.
Is Taiwan like that? I mean, do you have the same kind of custom?
Let me think. Yeah, we do that sometimes. In our cultures, we say excuse me, 不好意思. But sometimes we might not say anything because probably we're trying to get out secretly to pay the bill, and we don't want anybody to know.
Okay, I see. Trying to keep it a secret.
Yeah, trying to keep it a secret. So it's
got it.
better without saying anything. If you say, excuse me, then people will start paying attention. Where are you grabbing your bag? Where are you grabbing your credit card? Are you trying to pay? And should we stop you?
So it's
should we
kind of
apply for the
like-
bill?
It's kind of like stealth mode. Kind of like being a spy. I sneak out.
Yes, you're just,
I see.
No.
So when no one's looking, you're looking the other way, kind of like
yes,
sneaking. I
Yes.
see. Don't go anywhere.
yeah,
Right,
stay.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. I was just thinking about the drinking thing again. Do you have any other customs about drinking in Taiwan?
Yeah, there's one. There's one.
that?
When you're drinking
Yeah.
with an elders, and
Right.
can you hold up the glass?
She's my elder.
Yeah, and no, you're the elder.
I'm the elder. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
And when you try to do cheers
Yeah.
with the elders,
Yeah.
place your glass lower than your elder's glass.
Oh, really?
Yeah, say cheers.
Cheers. So that's important to place someone's glass higher than the other one?
I guess maybe to young generations it's not that important,
Right?
but maybe for my grandparents' generation, for my
Right.
parents' generations, they might notice the little difference.
What about your age? Do you still do that, or it depends on the company, or what?
I mean, with my friends, for me, I don't really care that much.
Right.
But if you're having dinners with your boss or colleagues, you probably have to pay attention to that.
Okay. What about if your boss is younger than you? Who raises their glasses? Does it depend on the situation, or what?
It depends on the situation. If it's social occasion, it's not. I guess it's okay.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I guess it's not a big deal. But the hierarchies, sometimes you still need to pay attention to that. So it really
Okay.
depends on the relationship that you have with your
So rank
boss.
is important, so to speak, family or in business. It's
Correct.
Got it. Okay.
Correct.
Sure. I think other Asian cultures have that same. Some of the other Asian cultures have that same way that rank is important. Age is not. Age comes second. It's a matter of where you are first.
Mhm.
And by the way, there was something else too.
Mhm.
Just give me 1 second. Now, in the skit, there was something I did wrong. If
Yeah,
you
that's-
notice, something that one of the characters did wrong.
Yeah.
Can anyone? I'll give you 5 seconds. Can anyone guess what I did wrong? What was my bad table manner?
About Billy. Any clue?
Ta-da! I was wearing a hat. You don't wear hats at the dinner table. You take them off. That's actually a table manner where I come from in Canada. You don't do that. You don't wear anything on your head. Especially when you're praying. When you pray, you always take off your hat. It's a sign of respect and reverence. So we don't wear our hats at the table when we're eating. Now, I mean, if you're working, something like that, you have to eat fast, it's okay. But for like a family, especially like a proper social occasion, no hats at the table. So, goodbye hat. You don't wear it. Now, what about Taiwan? Do you guys, is it okay to wear hats when you're like at a social occasion? Like,
No, I guess people don't really care about that. It's nice if you can take your hat off, but I don't think anyone would blame you for putting on a hat.
I see. What about at weddings? Okay to wear like at a wedding?
If you're indoor, people would think it's a bit weird, if you're indoors. If it's outdoors, I guess that's okay.
Okay, I see. All right. Do you have any other interesting table manners in Taiwan?
There's one more thing that I would like to add.
Okay.
When you're eating and let's say you haven't finished
Yep.
your meals yet
Right.
and you're going somewhere, you need to go somewhere else. And do not place your chopsticks like this.
You can't. Why can't you place them like that? I mean, it's just in your bowl.
Because in our cultures, it looks like incense. When you're worshiping your ancestors, you put incense like this. So it's not a good idea to put your chopsticks in the bowl. It's better to put the chopsticks either on the table
Okay.
or here. That's okay.
So this is like mimicking
Mm-hmm.
incense, which is like a form of like worship, something like that, or a funeral, or
Right.
something. Got it. So also, can you put them on top like this?
Yes,
That's fine. Like
that's
what
fine.
you said there is okay.
That's
so
fine.
on the top or on the side is okay,
Right.
but just not in the bowl.
No.
Okay. I think I heard something like that before a long time ago. I think it was maybe Korea or something that
Mhm.
you said they don't put your chopsticks into your rice and stand them up straight.
Right.
It reminds them of like the bones or something of their someone who died. It's like
Mhm.
it's somehow connected to the funeral.
Mhm.
And I did that once. I put it in my rice like this. And
Oh.
I didn't know. I mean, it's just chopsticks and rice, right?
Mhm.
But to them, it was like, no, this means something.
Mhm.
It was actually like symbolic of like, well, like you said, of like worship or a funeral. It was like, I was like, oh, I didn't know that.
Mhm.
So I took them out, put them by the side, and I was like, no, they didn't care. They knew I didn't know.
Right.
You know, I
right.
had no idea about this, but yeah, it was one of those things you learn when you're in a different country about, culture and table manners and such.
Good.
Yeah.
And we have a guest speaker today. Miss Fair, is there any special table manner from North Pole? Anything? Good, thank you.
Okay.
All right, so
Oh.
always eat fish.
Big fish. We got fish. You're in luck, man. I like fish too, yeah. Right. I have one more question. Reva, you have a child, right?
Yes.
And so do I. Now, we both have children, so this is good. Do you, when you're home
Mm-hmm.
and you're just sitting around the table, nobody there, just your family,
Mm-hmm.
is it okay for the kids maybe to bring like a toy to the table and just play with while they're eating? Is that okay?
I don't like my son doing that because I want him to finish the food first. But sometimes if a toy helps him to stay sitting off the table,
Right.
then I would allow it. But normally I do not want that happen.
So it depends if it's helpful or a distraction.
Right.
Right. Actually, I'm the same way.
Mhm.
If, especially when they're like really young, like a year old, 2 years, if they're playing with the toy and it helps them to eat,
Mm-hmm.
play with the toy, no problem. But if they start playing with the toy and they're not eating, or they're
Mhm.
fooling around, or they tip something over,
Oh.
that's the end of the toy.
Ah.
Now, what about something more formal? Let's say like Chinese New Year,
Mhm.
and you're sitting around a big table, and all your aunts and uncles and cousins and all that are there. And let's say your son is, I don't know, or 7, 8 years old.
Mhm.
Is it okay for him to bring his action figure and go like this?
Grandparents would not mind, they'll just let them do whatever they want, especially if it's Chinese New Year, everyone is happy, then just do
Yeah.
whatever you want.
Yeah.
But there's one thing that, nowadays a lot of people would do, but even with families, I would not say it's a good idea to do that. Do not use your cell phone.
The cell phone.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
I
kind of
got
like you are neglecting everyone who are eating with you, and it doesn't make yourself look good.
I know, we have become a cell phone culture, and it does create problems. It's almost like you are ignoring the other person. And even when you're driving, it's very dangerous because
Right.
you're focusing on something else
Mhm.
when you should be focusing on what you're doing.
Right.
And it does kind of create awkward situations at times. You just have to be mindful of those things. You have to be mindful. So I think if you do that, you'll be okay. But there are certain table manners that show respect to other people. And I think that's what we have to notice. Yeah.
Good. I think we've talked a lot of table manners in
Yes, we
both
have.
Western cultures and Eastern cultures.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Good.
Hope you guys enjoy the lesson.
Thank you.
I'll
Bye.
see you guys. Bye bye.